Magic fans, I'm Beef and welcome back to another Explorer gameplay video where this time we are playing a mono white humans / white weenie deck. White weenie is the name of a lot of white decks which have a lot of low to the ground white creatures obviously, and that's what this deck is, and they all happen to be human as well. So let's quickly go through our deck, starting with the 1-drop creatures. We have 2 copies of Dauntless Bodyguard. This is a 1-mana 2/1, so an OK body. And it says, as it enters, choose another creature you control. Then you can sacrifice the Bodyguard. The chosen creature gains indestructible end of turn. So the reason we have 2 copies of this is not the best card to play on turn 1. If you have another 1-drop, you will definitely want to play those. And I would say, depending on your curve, you may not want to play this at all. Obviously, if you have a Bodyguard, a 2-drop, and a 3-drop in your open hands, you probably want to play it out. But if you maybe have Bodyguard and 2 2-drops, you might want to wait until turn 3 so you can protect one of your 2-drops. Then we have 4 copies of Hopeful Initiate, a 1-mana 1/2 with Training. Training means whenever this creature attacks with another creature of greater power, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. So this can get reasonably large, and then we can pay 3 to remove 2 +1/+1 counters from among creatures we control. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. This can be done at instant speed. So a great way to pick off troublesome artifacts and enchantments. And then 2 copies of Recruitment Officer, another 1-mana 2/1, and then we can pay 4 to look at the top 5 cards of a library. We may reveal a creature card with mana value 3 or less and put it into your hand. Put the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. All our creatures are 3 or less, so this can hit any creature in our deck. Onto the 2-drops. 4 copies of Coppercoat Vanguard. 2-mana 2/2. Other humans we control get +1/+0, and they have Ward 1. This stacks, so the more Vanguards we get onto the battlefield, the more ward we have on our creatures. Luminarch Aspirant, a very, very powerful card. 2-mana 1/1. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. We see a similar ability in standard at the moment with Innkeeper's Talent and Ornery Tumblewag. 4 copies of Thalia, a 2-mana 2/1 with First Strike, and non-creature spells cost 1 mana to cast. We only have 1 set of non-creature spells in our deck, so this will hopefully attacks our opponent more than us. And then 4 copies of Thalia's Return, which is really a bit of a weird one as well for a 2-drop. So it's a 2-mana 1/1. When it enters, put a +1/+ counter on each other human we control, but whenever another human enters, we put a +1/+1 counter on Thalia's Return. So in an ideal world, you don't really want to play this on 2 because you're only going to buff one other creature, but then this itself can get huge. Ideally, you want to maybe play it on 3 or 4. So if we have, where we have maybe 3 creatures down to buff the rest of our board. Onto the 3-drops, we have Brutal Cathar, which is our only real removal. A 3-mana 2/2. When it enters or transforms into Brutal Cathar, exile target creature and opponent controls until its creature leaves the battlefield. And it has Daybound, which basically it means when it comes into play, it becomes day if the Day of End cycle hasn't started, and then if any player plays no spells on their turn, it transforms into night, and then this becomes the Moonrage Brute, which is a 3/3 with First Strike and would pay life. And then if a player plays 2 or more spells on any turn, it turns back into day, and we will get that ETB trigger again from the Brutal Cathar. 2 copies of Extraction Specialist, 3-mana 3/2 with Lifelink. When it ETBs, return target creature card with mana value 2 or less from graveyard to the battlefield. That creature can't attack or block for as long as we control Extraction Specialist, but this is a great way to get back Coppercoat Vanguard or Luminarch Aspirant cards we don't necessarily need to be able to attack or block to get value of them. Thalia's Talent, and even Thalia itself. And because it's got Lifelink, it's a great place to put the counters from Luminarch Aspirant, and a great thing to buff with Thalia's Returned. And then not our top curve because it's another 3-drop, but probably our powerhouse, Adeline, Resplendent Cathar, a 3-mana star 4 with Vigilance. Its power is equal to the number of creatures we control, and whenever we attack, for each opponent, create a 1/1 white human creature token with tapped and attacking that player or planeswalker they control. So this can get huge 6, 7, 8 pretty easily, and it creates extra bodies whenever we attack, not just when Adeline attacks. This can come down on turn 3, and if we attack, we're going to get that human token straight away. And obviously, the more Vanguards we have on the battlefield, the bigger those tokens are going to be. The only non-land and non-creature spell we have is Brave the Elements. A 1-mana instant says choose a colour. White creatures you control gain protection from the chosen card to end of turn. So obviously all our creatures are white, and protection is incredibly powerful. So if you don't know what protection does overall, the debt is what people say. So that stands for cannot be damaged, equipped, blocked or targeted. So this is a great way, one, to get in for lethal, because if we name a colour and all our opponent's creatures are that colour, then they won't be our blockers. But it's also a great way to whiff removal, or to look like we're setting up a chump block and then do this, and it essentially gives our creatures indestructible from that colour. Land base, pretty standard. Obviously, a lot of planes. We've got one cast in Arden Vale, which can crank out human tokens. 2 coins of a Ganjo as additional removal, and then maybe to play it. A Shefet Dunes, which can buff our board until end of turn, so only really useful when we get lethal. And 2 copies of Mishra's Foundry, just as a creature land. You can and probably should play. Oh, there is probably the original 2-mana 2/2, which I can't for the life of me remember what it's called now. But it only costs 1 to turn it into a land. But it is, I think, Mythic, and I'm short on Mythic wildcards, so I've just gone with Mishra's Foundry. It's rare we need to do it, but we do have it just in case. So this is not a overly massive, powerful deck. The problem you can just draw a lot of the really small creatures, but if you have a curve of like Initiate into Aspirant into Adeline, maybe then play a Thalia's Lieutenant as well, some other 1-drops and buff your entire board, you can go off. So that is the deck. I really hope you enjoy it. If you do, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the gameplay. We are on the draw, but we have an alright hand. We can Officer into Aspirant. I imagine they have that might be a Doomscar. That was a misclick. I was meant to put it on the Officer. Well, alrighty then. They countered the right thing for us, the wrong thing for them. Obviously, Thalia is a great tax against control decks. Well, on the draw, but we've got an alright hand. Obviously, Bodyguard is not a great turn 1 drop, but it's better than nothing, I suppose. Oh, so looks like a mono red aggro deck. Next turn, we can get down the Bodyguard on Thalia and Thalia's Lieutenant. That's annoying. Always land. They're playing really slowly as well. I won't block. Next turn we should be able to get him for a decent hit. We'll hit them for 14. Well, yeah, I am blocking with everything. I mean, they're just done. We go first, well, with an interesting hand. So I'm against Golgari. It does, obviously, that does tax our own Brave the Elements. Now you find the land. Well, let's play out Thalia then. And we can hold up Brave the Elements. Hit him for 4. Oh, this is a Grease Fang deck. Right, if we survive this turn, I think we've won. They don't seem to have Parhelion in the graveyard. They'll need to get it in the graveyard and reanimate Greasefang at the same time. Or we can just Brave the Elements, name black. think they may have removal. But we have 2 Brave the Elements, so even if we Brave the Elements and let's say black and they do something in response, yeah, we just name black again. We get protection from black, so they can't block. And we have 5, 6 from the token, 8, 9, 11, 12, I think, damage, so way more than enough. On the play, Dawn's Bodyguard's not... It's a bit of a odd 1-drop because coming down on turn 1 it can't do what it needs to do. But Luminarch Aspirant's a very good 2-drop. Maybe they've got like a bounce spell. Oh, we're up against spirits. I imagine they have Geistlight Snare. Well, I suppose we've got to get it out of them. Oh, just no more lies. Again, I imagine they have a counter. Oh, they don't this time. Yeah, we were taking out their Brine-born Cutthroat, and obviously we still had another Brave the Elements if they had more removal for our creatures. On the play, really good curve. Hopeful Initiate into Thalia, into a second Hopeful Initiate and Thalia's Lieutenant. Might be up against the mirror match. There's no point attacking. So let's get out another initiate, sorry, and a Thalia's Lieutenant. They could have actually taken out Thalia. Well, we can recruitment officer. And we'll see what they do, because next turn I think we just have lethal with Brave the Elements. Yep. They can get in for 7, 8, 9, 10, sorry, yeah. So that's fine. Give our board protection from white. And obviously protection means they can't be blocked by creatures of that colour. Ooh, on the draw. But good curve. Hopefully initiate into Thalia's Return. We're only buffing 1, but we do have another one. And then Brutal Cathar. So maybe take out a creature. Oh, we're up against Angels. Well, I'm going to play the Vanguard. That way, when we get down Thalia's Return, we have more things to buff. And obviously that is a good creature to Brutal Cathar. Because the Initiate has the +1 power from Vanguard, it doesn't trigger Mentor. Surprise! But this will trigger Mentor because of Brutal Cathar. And if we just draw Brave the Elements, we win, I think. We can buff our board quite a lot. See, could they could have survived. So we had what? 5, 10, 15. We had 19 and they could block. Okay, maybe they couldn't survive. They could block 10 of it. So no, they couldn't have survived. On the play, with a really good curve. Initiate into Aspirant, into Brutal Cathar. And Brave the Elements. It's probably going to be a very good defense. But I expect they've got a lot of removal because of Soulscar Mage. I'd really like to get... No, I would say I'd really like to get the Brutal Cathar down and then buff it with... I think I'm going to get Recruitment Officer and Thalia down. I will happily... There was no sticks. Maybe they didn't have... Well, we got to take out the Arcanist. And yeah, it's funny how that happens quite a lot. On the play, we can go Initiate, maybe then Recruitment Officer and Dauntless Bodyguard, instead of just buffing one thing with Thalia's Lieutenant. We'll protect the initiative. The initiate. Well, we can Brutal Cathar, the Soulscar Mage. And attack in. I expect they've got removal for the Cathar. I'm surprised they didn't go kill the Cathar with that. Well, we can get down Thalia's Lieutenant, buff our board and hold up Brave the Elements. They're down to 1. It is possible they can hit us for a lot, but yeah, that's not enough. Yep. On the play of Keepable Hand, Initiate into Thalia, and then into Recruitment Officer and Thalia's Lieutenant. And Brutal Cathar, a decent removal. Well, we'll play the Officer and Thalia's Lieutenant. So the Recruitment Officer can block the Arcanist. They've not got anything in the graveyard anyway. And we can Brutal Cathar it. I will take it. We're down at 12. We can Brutal Cathar the Arcanist. They're down to 5. So we might be able to get the Arcanist back. But we're not dead. And they either spend a lot of mana, well, a lot of mana and cards on not attacking, or they attack, we don't die, and then we get them on the backswing. On the play, no 2-drop, but hopefully Adeline can get us there. Or maybe we draw our 2-drop. One of many. Nope, just another 3-drop. Up against Golgari. Oh, there's a 2-drop. A turn too late. I don't mind the ramp since we have another Adeline in hand. We will exile their Glisser and put a counter on the Cathar. It's unlikely they're playing Cut Down, but you never know.
Nobody knows Dominaria's shadows live. Wow, one of your friends has to leave.
The reason we sacrifice the Aspirant is we can get it back with the Extraction Specialist. And if we draw a land, we can play that and Adeline. It's not a land, but we can play the Specialist. And the Vanguard. You can go Liliana, you can go Face.
Whatever. Luck favors the foolish, after all.
Well, that is annoying. Obviously, we really like another Brutal Cathar. That is lethal. And yeah, they scoop it up. The Extinction event almost did it in for us, but obviously drawing that second Brutal Cathar was clutch.